For a few seconds, there is only silence. Then, slowly, as she pours a small dark powder into a crystal champagne glass, within seconds, it disappears completely.
She drank the drink and fell down.
Welcome to African Tales by Najim.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Like, share, and join our storytelling family today.
Subscribe to African Tales by Najim.
Wealthy African families mix beautifully with British high society. Men in black tuxedos stand beside women dressed in elegant gowns and colorful African fabrics. This is not an ordinary wedding. 400 guests have flown in from Lagos, Accra, Toronto, and Dubai. The food is luxurious, the music unforgettable, and the atmosphere magical. At the center of it all are Dorcas Adeyemi and David Osei-Bonsu.
I know, right? But you have to admit, it was pretty funny.
Dorcas is a successful Nigerian-British architect known across London for her elegant designs. David is a respected Ghanaian-British neurosurgeon working at King's College Hospital. Together, they seem perfect. As the orchestra plays, David looks at his new wife with admiration. Dorcas laughs softly while greeting guests. Cameras flash endlessly around them. But in one corner of the ballroom stands another woman. Her name is Imani Asare. She wears a midnight blue dress that makes her look graceful and untouchable. In her hand is sparkling water. She smiles politely whenever someone speaks to her, but her eyes never stay away from Dorcas for too long. Years earlier, Imani and David had been together for 3 years
See how
after
fast
meeting
time
at university.
Yeah, but I'm glad we found each other here.
What began as friendship slowly became love. Eventually, David ended things with Imani honestly and respectfully. He did not betray her. He simply fell in love with someone else. Imani smiled and acted mature about it. She wished him happiness and hugged him goodbye. But after returning to her luxury apartment in Canary Wharf, she sat alone in silence for 2 days without eating. The heartbreak quietly destroyed something inside her. Still, she continued with life. She worked harder than ever at her investment banking job. Her friends believed she had moved on, but she had not. Months later, a gold wedding invitation arrived at her apartment. David and Dorcas were getting married at the Savoy Hotel.
I know this is hard, but are you certain going to the wedding is the best idea right now?
Are you sure attending is a good idea? Her friend asked carefully. Imani smiled calmly. Of course, she replied. David is still my friend. Nobody questioned her further because Imani always looked strong. But jealousy had already begun growing quietly inside her. One week before the wedding, rain tapped softly against her apartment windows while London lights reflected across the Thames River below. Alone in the darkness, she opened her laptop and searched for something dangerous. At first, she told herself she was only curious, but pain and jealousy clouded her thinking. Finally, she ordered poison through a private seller online. Afterwards, she stared at the river for a long time, still hoping she would never actually use it. She only wanted to feel powerful again after months of heartbreak. But jealousy rarely stops where it begins. The wedding day arrived beautifully. African drummers welcomed guests while a jazz band played softly in the background. Nigerian jollof rice and Ghanaian dishes were served beside fine British cuisine. The celebration perfectly blended African culture with London luxury. When Dorcas entered the ballroom in her wedding dress, the entire room gasped. She looked radiant. Even David seemed speechless as he watched her walk toward him, smiling. Later that evening, Imani arrived wearing a dark blue dress. She greeted David politely and kissed Dorcas on both cheeks. You look beautiful, she told her sincerely. And strangely, she meant it. That made everything hurt even more. As the night continued, the ballroom became louder and more energetic. Guests danced wildly, while family members celebrated with joy. During one particularly noisy moment, when everyone's attention focused on the dance floor, Imani quietly stood from her table. She walked calmly toward the bridal table. Her heartbeat pounded heavily inside her chest, but her face remained perfectly controlled. For 3 short seconds, she stood beside Dorcas' champagne glass. Then she dropped the poison inside. Minutes later, the best man called for a wedding toast. Everyone raised their glasses proudly. David smiled lovingly at Dorcas as she lifted her champagne and took a sip. For a while, everything still seemed normal. Music filled the ballroom. Laughter echoed everywhere.
Stay with
Then
me, please.
suddenly,
Stay with me.
Dorcas
Somebody
felt
help.
weak. At first, she thought it
She
was
stopped
exhaustion
breathing. Get an
from the long
ambulance,
day,
quickly.
Stay with me,
but
please.
within
Stay with
minutes,
me.
her vision
Somebody
blurred
help.
badly.
She stopped breathing. Get an ambulance, quickly.
Her maid of honor, Temi, found her moments later.
She drank the drink
Dorcas,
and
are you
fell
okay?
down.
Dorcas tried speaking, but her words barely came out clearly.
She
Then
drank
she
the drink
collapsed.
and fell
Temi
down.
screamed loudly for help. The music stopped instantly as panic spread
She
through the
drank the
guests.
drink and fell
David rushed
down.
toward the hallway and dropped to his knees beside his wife.
She
Dorcas,
drank the
stay
drink
with
and
me.
fell down.
An ambulance arrived quickly, and Dorcas was rushed through London streets toward King's College Hospital while David held her hand in terror. At the hospital, doctors worked desperately to save her life. Tests soon revealed something horrifying. Dorcas had been poisoned. The police were immediately contacted. Detective Inspector Sarah Okafor, a sharp British Nigerian investigator, began questioning staff and guests. Soon, detectives reviewed security footage from the Savoy Hotel. The cameras clearly showed Imani approaching Dorcas' drink shortly before the collapse. The next day, Imani sat inside a police interview room across from Detective Okafor. Her lawyer sat silently beside her. The detective placed a CCTV photograph onto the table. For a moment, Imani stared at it without speaking. Her composure remained strong, but small cracks finally appeared beneath the surface. Then Detective Okafor quietly revealed something unexpected. Dorcas survived, she said carefully, and she is pregnant. The room became completely silent. Imani froze instantly. Pregnant. She had not known. Suddenly, the full weight of her actions crashed onto her all at once. It was no longer about heartbreak or revenge. She had nearly destroyed two innocent lives. Tears filled her eyes for the first time in years. Slowly, she covered her face with both hands and began crying quietly inside the police station. Meanwhile, Dorcas slowly recovered at the hospital. David barely left her side for days. They changed him deeply. He realized how quickly life could disappear and how dangerous hidden jealousy could become. When Dorcas finally learned she was pregnant, both she and David broke down emotionally with relief and gratitude. 6 months later, life slowly moved forward. Dorcas returned to her architecture career while preparing for motherhood. David continued saving lives at the hospital, but he no longer took ordinary days for granted. Imani faced court for attempted murder. One morning outside the courtroom, David saw her standing quietly beside her lawyer. She looked different now, not powerful or untouchable anymore, just tired, human, broken by her own choices. Their eyes met briefly. No shouting, no anger, no dramatic words, only sadness for everything jealousy had destroyed. Then David turned and walked away, back toward the family and future he had almost lost forever. The screen slowly fades to black. Bittersweet. Jealousy does not always look dangerous. Sometimes it wears expensive clothes, smiles beside you, and pretends to celebrate your happiness.
Don't forget to subscribe.
Like, share, and join our storytelling family today.
Subscribe to African Tales by Najim.